Vayehili Yeshua Ozi v'zimrat yam. 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 Vayehili Yeshua ay ay da 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 dum. Yai da da yai da yai 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 ay yai da dum. Yai da da yai yai yai. Boker Tov, good morning. Another sunny day in which I can't really figure out the best place to sit. I have to sit close to the screen or too far back. Anyway, here we are, dear friends. So today is another day of struggle. It's a day of struggle in our own community, just through the lack of alignment between peoples in our immediate area, the things that are going on at Jewish events, people coming together to lift up Israel in the hearts of one another and to pray and to be in community and to be, at a party, etc. And to have other Jews show up to, I don't want to say ruin the event, but ruin the spirit of the event by coming in demanding things like, ceasefire, just looking for a fight. At Rockefeller Center, the tree lighting plagued by anti-Semitism and hate. There's just so many things in what's going on in Israel. Ceasefire or temporary pause. Sounds like my kid. He goes around with the remote, and if the adults are talking, he says he's putting us on pause so that we'll stop talking. It's quite funny. You have to look for some levity in these things, but when we're on a temporary pause, it's kind of like Ellis. He tells us to pause, and then we still talk anyway. It's heart-wrenching to see that even despite agreed upon hold in fire, still leaves us in a place where fire is happening. And so we're starting to have more worried hearts again, knowing that Netanyahu says we are not going to stop, that after this temporary pause, which, is being followed pretty decently from the Israeli side, knowing that it's not going to last forever, knowing that our people are being used as pawns, knowing as the longer we wait, the more destruction that could be, the more planning, the more pooling of resources. And that in itself is frightening. And so a word that comes to mind, and interestingly, a colleague teacher for all of us, Rabbi Yael Levy, puts it beautifully. And I didn't know that was going to be her teaching this week. And I was thinking of this word, rachamim, or rachmunis, as some people might recall with love, as maybe older relatives have said it, or maybe you have said it in your own self. Rachmunis, rachamim. One of these words that can mean pity or compassion or love or mercy. In Judaism, in Hebrew, for sure, It's one word and 50. It's like the opinions of Jews. 2 Jews, 10 opinions. One word, 20 different definitions and meanings. But one of God's names, one of the names of God is Rachamim, coming from the Hebrew word rechem, which means womb. A place without boundaries, but yet with boundaries, of course. But the boundaryless place of love that a parent has for their child, stemming from deep within. And so when we ask for Rachmanis, or we ask for, or we call out El Mali Rachamim, exalted, compassionate love, O God, we're calling from a place of this love that has no boundaries. We're calling out to you. Have pity on us, please. Help us. So the teaching of Rabbi Yael Levi for this week's Parsha, wrestling, and we talked about this on Wednesday, Jacob wrestles with God, changing his name, being changed to Yisrael. That he came to a place of vulnerability, that he showed up at a place where he was going to see his brother after the birthright blessing mishap. And he shows up vulnerable. And so, knowing how Jacob shows up, coming with all of these, bearing these gifts, because he's so unsure of what will happen, wrestling with his own self, wrestling with God, coming to a place, that place beside the river, that place, a place of wrestling. Rabbi Yael writes, all through the darkness, Jacob wrestled with his words and his actions, his dreams and his visions. He wrestled with who he had been and who he might become. He wrestled until he was able to tell the truth about himself and say, I am Jacob, vulnerable and afraid. I have spent my life grasping. I need a blessing. I need help to go on. In this season of, in this time, in this place that we are in, of sadness, of worried hearts, of pain, of chaos and uncertainty, we too wrestle. We wrestle with what to say. Someone asked me, I don't know how you do what you do. I said, I don't know how I do what I do either, because unfortunately, I'm out of words sometimes. And I'm not ever out of words. It's like, how much can we say? How can we be? Well, we can only show up and hope that our hearts will open and our mouths will share what our heart is and our minds are thinking. Many of us wrestle with anger and fear, confusion, wrestling with the feelings of helplessness, vulnerability, and despair. There are times we cannot get the mind to cease the fight, even for a moment. On social media, I took a few days of, only posting release of captives instead of from places of anger or places of teaching moments. And I almost felt like I wasn't doing my part. I was angry with myself because I thought to myself, yes, I'm doing teachings and I'm teaching in religious school. I'm doing all the things that I would normally do. But what made me stop with social media? And there wasn't any answer other than my own anger. It's like preaching to the choir. Because who are the people that are seeing it? Except that same person, one of the same people, who doesn't agree with me, with us, with many of us, who has to keep commenting. So it's moments of anger. I don't need you to see my side if you don't want to. But we all need a place of healthy conversation or agreeing to disagree. The people that are in the middle, the people that are totally, if we're here and they're here, we're not getting each other to come to the middle. But it's the people in the middle that are just kind of uncertain. They're not sure what they're supposed to believe. They don't know what's fact and not fact, etc. Are the people that need our conversation. And so sometimes we feel like we can't even get our own peace of mind to continue to fight or to continue to be quiet. What if we could let vulnerability and fear be and not try to wrestle it away? For many of us, for 7 weeks, going to be 8 weeks, we're sitting in those moments. We're wrestling it. Does Shabbat give us a chance to leave it, even for a little bit? What if we could ease some of our grasping for control? We can't control it. And we also can't help ourselves because we feel the need, the desire. It is fueled from a place of desire and want, hope for our people, for our country, but for humanity as a whole. There are moments when we can't stop bullying ourselves, right? We are demanding an end to vulnerability, to confusion, to fear. It seems like a stone is rolled off the heart, Rabbi El says. And a wellspring of rachamim, of compassion, is revealed. It becomes clear that rachamim is a sacred medicine for the tender heart and the vulnerable soul. Those words that she captured, and I promise not even knowing that this was going to be her teaching this week, I kept thinking of rachamim, rachmanis, rechem. And those are the words. Rachamim, compassion, is clear. Sacred medicine for the tender, worried, vulnerable heart and soul. To reach rachamim and drink from its well is its own long journey. Even if we weren't in the place that we are within our world, mercy and compassion, love, tenderness, that's a journey unto itself. Even when we know its power, compassion at times can feel impossible to allow. We pray that Rachamim reaches, holds, and guides us all. We pray that Rachamim gives us strength to allow the vulnerability, the courage to say, I didn't know, and the willingness to listen deeply and to turn towards ourselves and each other with patient care. As we enter the Shabbat together in just a few hours, God willing, we'll be in person, but for those of you that can't, of course, we'll see you right here. May Rachamim be the light. May compassion, may kindness, may love, may tenderness be the light that shines as we wrestle in the darkness. May Rachamim be the guide that helps us stand together as we meet the dawn. Beloved friends, a rough day in a slew of rough days and tough days. Elisa, you got it. You nailed it. A pleasure to be with you, those that are watching live, Linda and Elisa, Debbie, those that haven't checked in, and those that will watch later on. Let's see each other face to face tonight as we enter Shabbat together. Let's do it with Rachamim. Let's do it with compassion, with hope, with tenderness, and with love. For we are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you. We continue to carry our heavy hearts together. For that is what this is about. It's together. It's to do the best that we can with what we've been given, with the little bit of control that we have. We love you. Let our tender hearts, let our worry hearts feel a little bit of Rahmanas, a little bit of compassion, a little bit of tenderness. We'll see you in a few hours, 7:30 tonight in person or right here. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai.